a.m. on the very first day of September. That's right, September 1st, 2021. It is 7 in the morning. We're here again. It is We Will Not Comply. Got a lot of things to talk to you about, obviously, today. Lots going on. We missed the Monday show, but we will be here today with you, and we'll talk about a bunch of the different issues that are going on right now. But it is Monday, September 1st, the very first day of September in the final month of the summer of 2021. And for those of you who know me, those of you know that I'm excited about the fact that winter is on its way, that summer is almost over, only because I don't like the heat. I'm not a big fan of the humidity. Let me just readjust this here. Not a big fan of the heat, not a big fan of the humidity, and not a big fan of any of that. So I'm happy that summer is officially 20 days from ending, and we will be rocking and rolling with you today live. Good morning to everybody who's jumping in live on the chat. We've got some stuff to talk about, obviously, Afghanistan, school board meetings, some events that are coming up. Obviously, the 1 year anniversary of the loud majority is coming up this weekend, so we're going to talk about some of those things. A couple of school board related topics to speak about. Obviously, West Babylon school board meeting was last night. I did speak. The video is up. Spoke about some issues that are pressing going into the school year with regards to masking. I didn't really touch on critical race theory, but we will talk a little bit about that today. The biggest story that's going around the country right now, obviously, is Afghanistan, and the disaster that continues to exist and unfold over in the Middle East. And it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing that we're seeing happening in the Middle East. So, and we've got a lot that we could talk about. There's something that I've been saying. We'll also reflect on the Albany rally, which was unbelievable. Albany, the capital of New York, out there in New York, in Albany last weekend was unbelievable. Big shout out to CNY Informed, Chris, and all the people out there who put that one together up in Albany. That was a blast. What a turnout. And let's actually talk a little bit about Albany first. We'll reflect on the weekend. It was a great time. There were no incidents at the rally, with the exception of maybe one or two individuals who got a little loud, got a little excited. But over in Albany, it was a great time. We had speakers like Liz Joy, and I got to tell you something. When you listen to someone like Liz Joy speak, she's running in NY20, and she's running in the Albany district, right there in the Capital District. When you listen to someone like Liz Joy speak, you realize, wow, there really is hope in the United States when you think about politicians and representatives. There is hope that we will have the ability to put adequate and reliable representation all the way up and down our levels of government, right, from the top down. And it's very important to put people in there who could speak like Liz Joy, but not just people who are good at flapping gums, people who are going to back it up too. And something that had happened. I'm sorry, my allergies, they're actually absolutely killing me. Hold on. Something that had happened while Liz Joy was speaking was some rowdy person decided they were going to come up and start making noise. I don't know what their problem was. But then another gentleman who was just chiming in front of Liz Joy. She was just she was speaking, and he was chiming in. He was chiming in, and that's okay. And she had mentioned that we're going to see fines placed upon us for not getting vaccinated, or not wearing a mask and things like that. And the gentleman said, well, what if we do if we're fined? And Liz Joy paused for a second, and she then proceeded to say, don't pay the fine. Now, that is a congressional candidate, a federal candidate, right, who said, don't pay the fine. And that's fighting, ladies and gentlemen. That is part of civil disobedience. That is part of fighting. That's part of it. And it's important when you think about, right, you could talk the talk, but are you going to walk the walk? Right? You could talk the talk, but are you going to walk the walk? We will not comply with unconstitutional mandates. We will not comply with forced vaccinations. We just won't. And you can't. You've chosen this point in time in history, you've chosen to take a stand. There is no going back now. We are approaching times. It's put up or shut up time. It's put up or shut up time. And I know it's not popular to talk about the vaccine. I know I'm going to be called an anti-vaxxer. Listen, I've been called worse. And those of you know what I'm talking about. I've been called worse than an anti-vaxxer. But holy hell, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm an anti-forcer. I'm an anti-mandate. I'm overreaching governmental authority. That's what I am. Don't we all just want life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Isn't that all we want? And folks, for anybody in the chat who's telling me to come to board meetings, I'm trying to make it perfectly clear. I cannot announce where I'm going because crazy people follow me. So if you think I may be coming to a meeting, go. And if I'm there, I'm there. And the same goes for the rest of us. We cannot announce where we're going anymore, unfortunately, because we live in an awful world with crazy people who, for some strange reason, are really obsessed with me. I don't understand what that's about. But, hey, I'm sure they're watching. I'm sure they're watching me. And, oh, look, the neo-Nazis online again. Because, that's what they say. But I'm not anti-vax. Folks, I'm not even anti-mask. I know, I'm going to lose half my audience now. Do I think masks are necessary to stop the spread of coronavirus? No. It's day 534 of 15 days to slow the spread today. And because we're on day 534, we know that masks don't work. Because if they worked, we really would have needed 15 days. Okay. So I'm not even anti-mask. I'm not even anti-mask. I don't think they're necessary. I won't wear one. I ain't got a reason to wear one. I got antibodies. I have the greatest antibodies of the history of the world. What do you think about it? I had COVID in April. We call it COVID. It's actually the China virus because that's where it came from. The virus came from China. Okay? I have antibodies now. And now there are studies that are coming out that says antibodies and the immunity that you have from a natural infection is far stronger and lasts far longer than any benefits that you would get from the vaccine. Which begs the question, if that is the case and if that is the science, and that's what we're seeing through studies, why the hell does someone like me and however many millions of people recovered from COVID, because you do have a 99.98 survival rate, how come it's people like me, people like you, if you've had COVID, don't get any credit? Something's not right there. You got to get vaccinated if you want to go to a bar in New York City, says Bill de Blasio. You got to get vaccinated. I don't know why I decided that Bill de Blasio sounded like that, but sure. But the point of the matter is, those of you who have naturally recovered from the virus, those of you who have dealt with it, whether you've had a mild case or not, those of you who have beaten it and gotten over it and gotten back to their everyday life. And by the way, I will tell you, I've had COVID and it wasn't a bad case for me, but something happened long term where my smell is off because I hate the smell of coffee now. And coffee is one of my favorite things in the world. I got a cup right here. It tastes fine. It's black coffee, by the way. I take it black. It tastes fine. But I hate the smell. It's weird. But those of us now, I want you to think about what we're hearing and we're seeing. Okay, cases are up, right? Cases are up. Cases are up. Cases are flying. It's the Delta variant, okay, which is like really hard to test for. But the Delta variant, oh my goodness gracious, what are we going to do? Are we going to be able to get everybody under control again? Oh, there's that magical word, the C word, control. Are we going to be able to control this virus? It's never been about controlling the virus. It's always been about controlling you. And unfortunately, our favorite president fell victim to this. He got scared in the beginning. He didn't want millions of people to die. And so 15 days to slow the spread did happen under Donald Trump's watch. But if you remember, after the second garbage that opened up, 15 days to slow the spread, then there was another 30 days to slow the spread. So we had 45 days to slow the spread. And then he said, the cure cannot be worse than the virus. After 45 days, President Trump was done. Ironically, 45. Okay, 45 days. The cure cannot be worse than the virus itself. Said that on several occasions. You saw Therapeutics get shot down. Hydroxychloroquine. Now they're waging war on ivermectin. You saw Therapeutics get shot down just because he suggested to take it. Hydroxychloroquine showed a lot of promise if you take it early in the course of your infection with the presence of zinc and paired with Z-Pak, zithromycin, to clear up any bacterial infections. Now, the science behind hydroxychloroquine, for those of you who haven't done the research, and that's okay. I read it, back when this virus was starting, and I said, what the hell is hydroxychloroquine? That sounds like a really complicated, long name. It's a drug that's been fully FDA approved for 64 years, something like that. That's been used to treat malaria. If you're somebody listening, somebody watching right now who suffers from rheumatoid arthritis or lupus, which are autoimmune diseases, hydroxychloroquine is designed, and what it does to treat those diseases is it lessens the immunoresponse, because a disease like rheumatoid arthritis is when your immune system attacks your joints, okay? Your immune system wages war on your joints. Your body essentially attacks itself, and what hydroxychloroquine does is it tones down that immune response. So what hydroxychloroquine would do in the case of this virus is it tones down the immune response to the virus in terms of the cytokine storm and all the pneumonia and everything that happens in the lungs. But it's called a zinc ionophore. A zinc ionophore. Pay attention. And what that means is that if you take zinc, so someone in the chat is asking here, why Z-Pak? That is for bacterial infection, not the virus, right? If you get pneumonia as a complication from this virus, it could set off a bacterial infection, and Z-Pak would clean that up as well. That's why they were pairing it up with Z-Pak. But a zinc ionophore, essentially what that does, it breaks down the membranes of your cells and it lets zinc in. And this coronavirus, much like other coronaviruses, like the common cold, like SARS, like MERS, this coronavirus has a very hard time replicating in the presence of zinc. So if your cells are loaded with zinc, and the zinc has been allowed into your cells because you've been taking hydroxychloroquine, you have a very good chance of beating the virus. Now, if you get into the hospital, what they give you is something called remdesivir. Remdesivir is an antiviral, and that's produced by Gilead Pharmaceuticals. And Gilead Pharmaceuticals has some pretty close ties to Anthony Fauci. And it's a very expensive drug. Hydroxychloroquine costs 25 cents a dose. So let's follow the money here, folks, and figure out why exactly they're shooting down hydroxychloroquine. It's too cheap, and Donald Trump talked about it. You had a woman who went crazy enough, Trump derangement syndrome. This is how you know it's real. She drank fish tank cleaner. Drank it. Glug, glug, glug. She drank it. Fish tank cleaner because this is chloroquine phosphate, so let's drink it. She killed her husband. She fed her husband too much fish tank cleaner and then blamed it on Donald Trump. Remember when they said, Donald Trump said inject bleach? Donald Trump said drink bleach. Donald Trump never said drink bleach. The media is a disgrace. So, and to everybody saying good morning over here in the chat, good morning, everybody. So a little bit about the virus. Now, let me ask you a question. You hear about vaccinated people getting sick, right? And they refer to these cases as breakthrough cases. You hear about vaccinated people getting sick. They're breakthrough cases, right? Breakthrough. There's a breakthrough case. So plane loads of Democrats are getting sick, but they're all breakthrough cases. Lindsey Graham, my favorite rhino Republican in the Senate, is getting sick. But Rand Paul isn't. You hear about vaccinated people getting sick all over the place. They're still getting COVID all over the place because this is not a vaccine, ladies and gentlemen. This is an injectable therapeutic. We now know that the point of the vaccine is not to stop the spread. The point of the vaccine is not to to provide robust immunity to the virus. Maybe it does for the first month or so. But clearly its effects are not long lasting because vaccinated people all over the place are getting sick. And if you have antibodies, there are studies and articles and whatnot that show that you are far less likely to have an issue with the Delta variant if you've already had COVID than if you had the vaccine. So the people who have had the virus, the people who have antibodies, the people who have recovered from the virus, like Rand Paul, like a lot of my friends, like myself, those people are the ones who are the least likely to get infected again and to spread it again. And we get no credit. And the answer to that question, why do you guys get no credit? Because natural immunity is free. Nobody can make money off of natural immunity. Gilead Pharmaceuticals can't make money off of natural immunity. Anthony Fauci cannot make money off of natural immunity. Big Pharma cannot make money off of natural immunity. There is no money in natural immunity, ladies and gentlemen, and that is why natural immunity isn't even talked about. You hear about people all over the place, whether they're planes full of Democrats coming out of Texas, or they're sitting congressmen and women in the United States, or they're just random people who are coming down with COVID despite getting the vaccine. You're hearing about it everywhere. But one thing that you're not hearing about is second infections. You're not hearing about repeat infections. And if you are, those are the real breakthrough cases. And if people who get the virus for a second time do go ahead and get it again, they're getting a much more milder case. This vaccine, the jab that we want to call it, is not a vaccine. This does not provide immunity to the virus. Okay? All it does, and it's a very important thing that it does, is it severely lessens your chance of having to go to the hospital or be stuck on a ventilator if you do get COVID. But this does not prevent you from spreading it. This does not prevent you from getting it. And this does not prevent you from anything other than hospitalization and death if you do get COVID-19. So you see these quote unquote breakthrough cases happening everywhere. Everywhere. People who are vaccinated are getting sick. But people with antibodies aren't getting sick. And those antibodies from a natural infection last a whole hell of a lot longer than the artificial antibodies or whatever it is that your body produces after taking this vaccine. Now you've got school districts here on Long Island, like East Meadow, whose district physician is a member of the Department of Health. Nothing to see here, right, folks? Where this man, Dr. Zazzo, has out and out said the only way back to school with no masks is when every child is vaccinated. Why? Why must the children get vaccinated against COVID? Why? And they're not really getting vaccinated. They're taking an injectable therapeutic, folks. Unbelievable. You got a Harvard. I got an article here. Pulled it off of BonginoReport.com. It's loading up here, and I'm going to put this obviously in the show notes again. Harvard epidemiologist. We want to trust the experts, folks. We're going to Harvard right now. Says the case for COVID vaccine passports was just demolished. This was put up on Monday, August 30th, 2021. His name is John Mittmore. A newly published medical study found that infection. So I'm sitting here talking about vaccines for so long. From COVID-19 confers considerably longer lasting and stronger protection against the Delta variant of the virus than vaccines. Quote, the natural immune protection that develops after a SARS-CoV-2 infection offers considerably more of a shield against the Delta variant of the pandemic coronavirus than 2 doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. According to a large Israeli study that some scientists wish came with a "don't try this at home" label, the Scientific American reported Thursday. The newly released data show people who once had a SARS-CoV-2 infection were much less likely than vaccinated people to get Delta, develop symptoms from it, or become hospitalized with serious COVID-19. Put another way, vaccinated individuals were 27 times more likely to get a symptomatic COVID infection than those with natural immunity from COVID. 27 times more likely. Yet it is the people who get stuck with this vaccine who are allowed in bars in New York City, restaurants in New York City. We got the passports all over the place. These were the people that they were told, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. You are 27 times more likely to get the virus, to contract the virus, to get an infection if you're vaccinated than if you have natural immunity. And if you go ahead and you do get sick, you have a 99.98% chance of recovering. And we're panicking. We're going crazy. We're flipping out. We're masking kids. We're staying 6 feet apart from one another. We're flipping out every time someone dares to cough or sneeze. Oh my goodness, you're going to kill us. What are you doing? Folks, it's we as a species, we have learned to live with things. Okay? And unfortunately, this virus is going to be something that we're just going to have to live with. We have never vaccinated against an mRNA virus. I'm sorry, against an RNA virus before. We've never done it. Now, all of a sudden, we have this vaccine. And we're finding out that the vaccine really isn't doing as much as we thought it was going to be. Continuing on with this article, the findings come as many governments around the world are demanding citizens acquire, quote, vaccine passports to travel. New York City, France, and the Canadian provinces of Quebec and British Columbia are among those who have recently embraced vaccine passports. Meanwhile, Australia has floated the idea of making higher vaccination rates a condition of lifting its lockdown in jurisdictions. While President Joe Biden is considering making interstate travel unlawful for people who have not been vaccinated for COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to East Berlin and West Berlin. If the President of the United States makes it illegal for you to travel from state to state if you have not been vaccinated, despite maybe having antibodies like I have, we have lost America. You now live in a prison. You are now a slave to a man who doesn't know what color socks to wear every morning. You are now a slave to a man who, despite attending a service for 13 murdered U.S. servicemen and women, I believe they were all men, but I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying, checking his watch. That's the guy that's going to tell you you're not allowed to travel from state to state. That's the guy. We will not comply. We will not comply. We cannot comply. You see, this is something that I've been talking to a lot of people about, medical freedom, but really not medical freedom. It's more or less medical tyranny. Because if you think about what that is, 15 days to slow the spread, all of a sudden the government assumed its authority to change voting laws. to determine what you must wear out in public, to determine how far you must stand from one another. Folks, under the guise of a virus, under the guise of a public health emergency, and I'm not trying to say that this virus isn't serious. I'm not trying to say that it hasn't claimed people's lives or that it hasn't put people in the hospital or that it hasn't been scary for a bunch of folks. I'm not saying that. But what we have just given government the ability to do, what we have just set the precedent for government to do, was to declare anything they want, anything, a public health emergency. What is going to stop government now from declaring guns a public health emergency and them coming up with all these insane laws? And there were 2 women among those killed in Afghanistan over the last couple of weeks. But what is going to stop government from going throughout this entire process? Right now it's COVID. We have a virus. What is going to stop them from saying we have a national health emergency? Guns are a problem. That's the new epidemic. And, we're going to look at precedent from COVID, and government was allowed to say you had to wear a mask. So now government's going to say you have to give us your guns because it's a public health emergency. They're parking trucks outside of high schools in Wantagh. They got a vaccine truck outside the school. You got over there in East Meadow, the moron who's running over there in East Meadow saying every child has to get vaccinated, but he's ignoring all the science. He'll ignore this Harvard epidemiologist. Yeah, I know. Dr. Zazzo, the DOH guy, he knows better. And speaking of East Meadow, those parents have had enough since getting locked out of their board meeting last week. Locked out. So tomorrow at 8 a.m., East Meadow and the parents of East Meadow School District are holding a walkout. 718 The Plain Drive. Tomorrow's East Meadow's first day of school. If you do not want your child to go to school in a mask in East Meadow, you go to this protest tomorrow, 8 a.m., 718 The Plain Drive, Westbury, the East Meadow School District Administration Building, 8 in the morning. If you don't want your children to go to school in a mask, then you show up to this tomorrow. If you're in a neighboring district and you don't want your children to show up in a mask, then you show up to this tomorrow. We have to come together and join together in massive numbers over this issue. We need monstrous amounts of civil disobedience. We need emails to flood every school district. I'm gonna get this information out to you. We are gonna send an email, a form email, every day to superintendents, to boards of education, every day. And if we send those emails in the thousands and we make it clear, that these emails will stop when your BS stops. You want your inboxes back? We'll give them back to you. When you give us back our freedom, when you give us back our choice, when you give our kids back their goddamn childhoods. And you stop poisoning them in the classroom with critical race theory. And you let them take the masks off. And you let them live. Every day, guys, every day. So I'm going to work on this email with somebody. I'm working on it. We're going to put something out. And then you can take this email and you can send it to your schools and your districts every day. Because if we do this in the thousands, folks, it's going to be very hard for your school districts to conduct business without seeing that. Every single day, we will swamp their inboxes. I'm disgusted over this. Medical tyranny is what we're dealing with. Under the guise of a public health emergency, government was just given the authority to just make their own rules. Hey, let's make our own rules now. What's the next one they're going to do this about? We already seen them making up rules now because of a Delta variant that it's very interesting. It's very tough to test for. And like everything else, we will not comply. So tomorrow at 8 a.m., East Meadow School District, 718 the Plain Drive is the East Meadow Administration Building. We're holding a walkout. Parents of East Meadow have had enough. And if you do not want your child to attend school in a mask, whether you're in the East Meadow School District or not, and you're available tomorrow from 8 a.m. till whenever we decide to leave, get there, because that is the first statement that's going to be made. When school districts start to see kids that are not in school, they will start to act. Which brings me to my next point. Last night, I addressed the West Babylon School District, and I've addressed several folks from several districts and reminded them what the job of the Board of Education actually is and how representative and the representative system is supposed to work. And what we have witnessed is a complete and utter failure of the representative system. These boards of education are supposed to advocate for the community that elected them. Instead, every single board of education that I have attended, whether it's West Babylon, whether it's East Meadow, whether it's Wantagh, whether it's Longwood, whether it's Connetquot, whether it's Comswag or Comac or Lindenhurst or Half Hollow Hills, and it's more than that because I've heard stories from everybody who has shared stories with me. Every single one of these boards, rather than advocate for the community and go to Albany and tell Albany what their people are saying, what their community is saying, they have done the opposite. They have now come back with everything that Albany wants and forced it on these communities. It's disgusting. And the state now is dipping its hands and dipping its toes into the swimming pool. Okay, if you don't follow our best wishes, F your community. We're going to pull funding. We're going to pull a superintendent's license. We're going to replace the board. I'll tell you what. Listen, if you're on the Board of Education in any of these districts and you voted for masks, don't worry about the state replacing you. We're going to replace you. So don't worry about that. One way or the other, you're gone because you cowards, you hid in a corner. You forced yourself into this position. And now you've got the entire community who elected you. They elected you. They put you there, boards of ed. You're going to get replaced. Not by the state, by your peers, by your neighbors. I've been saying this since Albany. It's one of my new favorite things to say. It seems to resonate with a lot of people. It seems to resonate that if we cannot change the minds of the boards of education, if we cannot change the minds of your elected representatives, whether they're in local government or state government or federal government, if we cannot change the minds of the people we elect, then we change the names of the people we elect. You understand that? If we cannot change the minds of the people we elect, then we change the names of the people we elect. I just realized that it says we will not comply Friday, 8/27/21. That's the title. I apologize. I didn't change that. Oops. If your district is telling you that they're just following the guidance that's been put forth by Albany, they don't answer to Albany. Albany did not. Albany did not put them there. Albany did not elect them. Albany did not vote for them. You voted for them. You elected them. You voted for them. You are the ones who put these people in their seats. And guess what? Their seats are now going to be your seats, because there are people all around Long Island that are sick and tired of this crap. Sick and tired. Absolutely pissed off. And they're going to take these people on these boards and they're just going to, no, these are going to be my seats now. These are our seats now. Can't change their minds, change their names. That's what we're going to do. That's how it's got to be. Oh, you don't think we could do it? Oh, you don't think we can do it? What, did Smithtown not happen? Would that only come together in a month and a half? You think we're not going to be able to do it with 9 months of preparation? What, are you kidding? Hey, in some of these situations, I hope the state comes down there and replaces the board. It's less work for us to do. Go ahead, replace the board with some state cronies. They're not going to wind up on the board next year. Go ahead. East Meadow School District with their physician who's a member of the DOH. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Dr. Zazzo. We're not going to be able to take masks off until every child is vaccinated. Okay, great. Yeah, good. Even though the study out of Israel, the Harvard epidemiologist, Dr. Zazzo, couldn't shine this guy's shoes, all of a sudden he's going to come up there and tell me that he's got better information than the Harvard epidemiologist with a study that he cites where if you're vaccinated, you are 27 times more likely to catch and catch a contagious case of coronavirus, 27 times more likely to catch a contagious case of coronavirus than if you have antibodies. Yet I got to get, I have antibodies. I got to get stuck with a needle to go drink in New York City. Yeah, hard pass. Sorry, not going to do it. Sorry. It's not happening. So last night at West Babylon was fun. We had students there. We had parents speaking. One thing I do want to urge everybody real quick while we got everyone's attention, I'm sitting here screaming and yelling, is if you are going to attend these board meetings, you've got, I understand that you're passionate, it's your kids, I get it. But we do have to learn, or at least practice some restraint here. Okay? I get it. You hear somebody come up, they're an idiot. They're a barking seal. Oh, yeah, government. We love it. Yeah. Oh, you watch this stuff. I understand all that. I understand you get sick when you see another fellow parent going, well, I'm going to send my kid to school with a mask because I care about everybody else. And they start fake crying. And then they have the props with their signs and you have fake outrage, a whole Hollywood production. I understand you don't want to deal with that. I understand you're going to grumble and, oh, my God, this is ridiculous. But please, please, please don't interrupt anybody when they're talking. We're not fascists. We don't shout people down. Even if we hear garbage being spewed in front of us, we don't do that. That's never who we've been, and that is not who we are. You know, when this whole thing started a year ago, because let's face it, we're 5 days. We've been going for 360 days. Like literally been going for 360 days. Like there's not a day we've stopped. Right? We've never, ever endorsed or encouraged that type of conduct, and that's not going to start now. You go to these board meetings and you get upset. Somebody's saying things that you don't agree with. Guess what? You do live in the United States of America, and that is something you're going to have to deal with. It's unfortunate, so just bite the tongue, bite it nice and hard. I don't care what you got to do. Bite your hand. Stick your shirt in your mouth. I don't care. But don't, because all these boards are looking for a reason to walk out. They're looking for a reason to end the meeting. They're looking for a reason to say, we got to get out of here. Don't give them that reason. The same reason why I told everyone when they started bringing in police, which is ironic because they're bringing in anti-police curriculum and then relying on the police to secure their board meeting. Fine. Okay. But we don't want to give the board a reason, something to point to and go, you see, that's why we needed the cops, because this person is crazy. And there are going to be crazies at every meeting, and there have been crazies on both sides. And I will give West Babylon kudos for not letting the crazy woman who decided that I'm all these awful things speak last night, because she's not a resident of the district. She may not even be a resident of this planet. That's how out of touch she is, but that's a whole nother story. But please, when you go to these board meetings, and I know things are going to get intense, and I know things are going to get nuts, but please don't let these meetings devolve into chaos. Please. And another thing, I heard at the Stony Brook protest last week that there were people in shirts, these shirts, not the polos, because we don't have those for sale, but our loud majority shirts that were cursing, that were vulgar, that were disgusting. I'm sorry. If you're going to do that, take my shirt off, please. Don't come. I don't need that. That is not who we are. That's what literally when we first started last year and there were these incidents that were coming, I denounced people who did that. And I will denounce you again. That is not welcome. Yeah, freedom of speech, fine. If you're going to get up and start screaming and yelling, that's not what we do. That's what the other people do. That's what the left does. That's what the fascists do. We're not that. You understand what I'm saying? That is not who we are. And if you think that's who we are, go rally with someone else. I'm dead serious. Because that's going to give everything that we've been doing a bad name. That's going to erase all the good work that we did with food drives and toy drives and turkey drives and the charity that we're going to be doing this weekend for Voices for Seniors is going to erase all of that, because you can't keep your mouth shut and stop saying the F word. It's not hard, folks. I lose composure too. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I lost my composure a little bit in Longwood last week. Guilty as charged. When I did that, I said, you know what? Wait a second. That's not who I am. That's not who we are. And that's not who I want kids to see. You do not stoop to their level. We're better than them. We have to conduct ourselves better than them. Even if that means biting our tongue for a little bit. That's what we've got to do. Okay, September 4th, Saturday, there is a rally. You see, I didn't post the flyer, folks. People are upset with me for not posting a flyer, because if I don't post every flyer, someone's bound to get upset. But there is a flyer going on. I can't read it. I can't get the information off of it. So there's something going around on September 4th at a hospital in the East End. I'm trying to get this information, ladies and gentlemen, but I can't read the flyer. I'm looking to see if I can even find it now. It's been very difficult for me to I can't read the flyer. That's why I don't even know the information offhand. September 4th is the only thing I know. September 4th is the only thing I know. I don't know what it says here. September 4th, protest at FBMC. Oh, Peconic Bay Medical Center. It's a black and white flyer. Protest at Peconic Bay Medical Center, September 4th, 2021, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., 1300 Roanoke Avenue in Riverhead. Please join your medical and healthcare workers, your frontline heroes, your doctors, etc. Please join them on at this protest, September 4th, Peconic Bay Medical Center, 1300 Roanoke Avenue, Riverhead. That's happening this Saturday. Now, the day after on Sunday is our 1-year anniversary. Okay. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that right now. You're going to start at the Dennison building, 11 a.m. And we're going to caravan right here to the America First warehouse. Okay. We'll be taking the caravan from the Dennison building, leaving at 1 p.m., coming to the America First warehouse, and that's where we're broadcasting from. The America First Media Campus is not in the actual warehouse. We are at the America First Media Campus, it's going to be a state-of-the-art facility. We're going to be this room that we're in right now is going to be the most influential room in the state. I'm just telling you right now. The microphone that I'm sitting behind, the room that I'm currently sitting in, the area that we're in, and what we're doing is going to be the most influential room in the entire state. I'm telling you this right now. This is what's going to happen. So if you're here for it, you're here for it. If not, I can't help you, but I'm sure you'll be back. 11 a.m. Dennison Building. We leave at 1 p.m. We are taking a caravan here to the America First warehouse. Bring your own food. Bring your own drinks. Very, very important. Bring your own food. Bring your own drinks. No grills. No grills. No. Okay, because we got to keep that parking lot and everything clean, but no grills. But you can bring your own food. You can bring your own drinks. Bring a hero. We have flyers out. We've got events out. We're going to be posting them all over. It's on the Long Island Loud Majority Facebook page. I'm going to be putting it all over on Twitter. It'll be on Instagram. It's everywhere. Okay. There's also a flyer because we are collecting donations for Voices for Seniors, which is an organization that is helping the elderly. As you know, the elderly, our former governor decided it is time to wipe out the elderly population in New York. That's what he wanted to do, right? So what we have done, and what a few very good people who have founded that group and are working with that group right now are doing, is we are going to collect certain items, and there's a flyer for that as well. It's also on our Facebook page. But there's a flyer for that as well, for different items, specific items that we will be collecting to give to Tracy of Voices for Seniors. And we will have no issues now. We'll be able to donate that. We'll get that to them, and we'll help out the elderly. There's a big announcement about an event that we are collaborating on with a bunch of other people on September 12th. We're going to be teaming up with Turning Point USA. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. You probably have. Charlie Kirk's organization, very big on college campuses. And I did speak to Charlie Kirk yesterday on The Unfettered Patriot. I want you to listen to that. It's called The Unfettered Patriot with Dr. Cordy Williams, who I'm lucky enough to call a friend of mine. I did speak to Charlie Kirk, and they are trying to get involved in the high schools out here. They're trying to get involved with people younger than college. And Charlie brought up a good point. Charlie brought up a really good point yesterday. That if you are a child in school, in college, in high school, and you do feel it necessary to speak up, be prepared for the consequences, because it's going to happen. You're going to get slandered. You're going to get smeared. You're going to get called names. Things are going to happen that you're not going to like. But you have to understand that that's what comes. That's what we're fighting against. That's what we're fighting to stop. You see, this is why I say this is not who we are at these board meetings. When someone gets up there and starts talking about masks, and we're going, "Wow, you idiot!" No. We know they're idiots. They know they're idiots too. Believe me, they have to look at themselves in the mirror every day. And they see an idiot staring back at them. You don't have to tell them that. They see their own reflection. They understand that they're morons. They understand that they're idiots. They understand that this is not the life they want to live. They're miserable people. Let them be miserable. We don't have to add to that. But when you do speak out and you're a child, if you're speaking out in schools, if you're speaking out in your colleges, if you're starting a Turning Point USA club in your local college, if you're talking about if you're starting a Turning Point club, but they're trying to get into different high schools, you're going to get, your name might get dragged a little bit. That's not to tell you not to do it. I'm just letting you know and explaining to you what exactly might happen. This is what Charlie Kirk said to me yesterday on The Unfettered Patriot with Dr. Cordy Williams. But it doesn't mean to be afraid. It just means to be prepared. It just means to be prepared. But get used to it. Get used to it. It's happened to me for the last year. I went from nobody knowing who the hell I was to too many people knowing who the hell I am and them getting the wrong ideas about me and whatnot. But I don't regret a single thing that has happened over the last year. Not a single thing. And we've made some good decisions and we've made some bad decisions. And we've had some good days and we've had some not so good days. And I regret nothing. Because it's the bigger picture that we're after. It's the bigger fight that we're after. It's this country that we're trying to save. And while we're speaking on this country, I do want to talk about one Afghanistan story because it's just it's disgusting what's going on. But here's an article in the New York Post. Afghan interpreter who saved Biden in Afghanistan is now stranded there. So an interpreter who once saved our esteemed president, the most popular president in history, is now stranded in Afghanistan. We've turned our back on him. We've turned our back on so many who are still over there. The article, New York Post, an Afghan interpreter who helped the 2008 rescue of then Senator Joe Biden and two other senators from a valley in Afghanistan was among the thousands left behind as the commander-in-chief pulled U.S. troops out of the embattled nation, leaving it in the hands of the Taliban. Mohammed, whose last name has not been revealed as he is still in hiding, gave a message for President Biden through the Wall Street Journal on Tuesday. Quote, "Hello, Mr. President. Save me and my family," he said. "Don't forget me here." Ladies and gentlemen, this is an interpreter who saved Joe Biden once. The interpreter is hiding from the Taliban after attempting to escape Afghanistan for years. He and his family are among the many Afghan allies who were unable to evacuate the country by the time U.S. troops completed their full withdrawal Monday evening. Asked about his fate Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said, "We're going to circle back," just kidding, said Tuesday that she appreciated the man's role in helping rescue the president and the U.S. will try to help him leave Afghanistan. Yeah, good luck, sir. Psaki said, "Our message to him is thank you for fighting by our side for the last 20 years. Thank you for the role you played in helping a number of my favorite people out of a snowstorm and for all the work you did," Psaki said at her daily press briefing. She added, quote, "Our commitment is enduring, not just to American citizens, but to our Afghan partners who have fought by our side. And our efforts and our focus right now is to the diplomatic phase. We will get you out. We will honor your service." I hope in this case, this is the exception to the rule, that the blind squirrel has found the nut and that this is different than what we've seen from this administration in its short 7-8 month tenure so far. Because everything else that this administration said was going to happen has been a lie. Remember, Joe Biden, if you're vaxxed, you don't have to wear a mask. No, that's not the case anymore, is it? Now I'm going to take a look at the chat here. 7:53. Why don't we do some phone calls? 631-309-3979. 631-309-3979. The lines are open. If you want to call in, 631-309-3979. The last 10 minutes or so of the show today. If you want to call in, it's here. Give me any thoughts on your school boards. Give me any thoughts on Afghanistan, on COVID, on your vaccines. Are you coming to your protests? Are you going to be doing it also September 15th? September 15th is the big one. Huge walkout. Huge protest. I'm going to be putting a flyer up about that. That's something we can do in solidarity also. School-driven school protests and everything like that. 631-309-3979. 631-309-3979. If you want to call in. If not, I get it. It's early. No big deal. Also, if you want, please check out our website, loudmajorityus.com or officialloudmajority.com. Get your shirts, hats, and what have you. Sign up for the newsletter so you never miss a thing. We're in quite a situation here, folks, ladies and gentlemen, patriots, whatever you want to refer to yourselves as. We're in quite a situation here in the United States. You've got a president who is clearly being led places. He's taking instruction. I mean, I've been instructed to take questions. So who the hell are you to take instructions, Mr. President? You are the president of the United States. All right, we have a phone call coming in, so let's see how this works. Okay. Caller, do you hear me? What town are you coming from? You do not have to give your name for your own personal safety, but do you hear me?
Yes, I do. I'm in Nassau County,
Okay,
Long
great.
Island.
Awesome. Good to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. I just wanted, I don't know if everybody knows this, but apparently State Senator Brad Hollyman is introducing a COVID bill. The number of the bill is S, like Suffolk, 7320, and it's apparently going to give the health commissioner the authority to order children to get the COVID shot. Now, they're doing that today, so I had emailed the Assembly Carl Hesty or Heasty.
Yeah, he's the Heasty. He's the I believe Heasty is actually the leader, the Speaker of the House, essentially in the State Assembly.
Yeah, so if they're worried about this, which I would be, because this is how we lost our religious exemption back in June of 19, to call Albany, the Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart Cousins, John Gilmore. I don't know if people are familiar with him, but he has posted all this information on his website, which I belong to. But this is exactly what happened when we lost our rights of religious conscience not to vaccinate.
So can you do me a favor and read that up again? It's S. What is it? S what? S.
S like Suffolk.
Yep.
7320.
S73. S is S. 7320. S as in Sam. 7320. That's the Senate bill.
Yes.
And you're telling me that this is a Senate bill that is going to give the state the authority to mandate the vaccines for children.
From 2 to 18 years old.
From 2 to 18, despite the FDA, right? Because it's right now it's only 12 and up, right?
From what I understand.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is something that some of us know about. I don't think a lot of people know about it because there's so much going on.
Yes.
But they really need to call their local assembly representatives. They need to call, and they need to call the Senate Majority Leader, Andrea Stewart Cousins.
Well, thank you for that. That's information that I didn't have that specific information. So thank you for that. Like you said, there's a lot going on. So that's important. And I think if everybody just heard that, hopefully everybody heard that. S is in Sam, 7320.
Yes, 7320.
That's the bill being introduced. Call them up and let them know not to pass that.
They're meeting today about the tenant landlord bill, but they're trying to sneak this in, and that's why a lot of people don't know about it.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for that information. It's very valuable, and it looks like everybody here in the chat is very excited to make those phone calls as well. So thank you so much, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Great, thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, good. So good information here. Once again, 631-309-3979, 631-309-3979. That was proposed. She did mention that by Brad Hollyman. He's one of the worst senators out there in Albany. But listen, these types of things don't matter right now. It's probably not going to pass because it's not approved, but we'll see what happens. I got another call coming in. This is going to be the last one of the show. And caller, how are you? You can turn down that sound in the background there. I got a lot of background noise.
Okay.
Just tell me where you're calling from.
Calverton, New York.
Calverton, New York. Awesome. Thanks for calling in. What's going on?
Could you mention the name of the woman that's involved with the school curriculums across Long Island? She's a black woman.
Are you talking about the one who founded Erase Racism? You talking about Elaine Gross?
Yes.
Elaine Gross.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Elaine Gross is involved in the curriculums, and I'll touch on this briefly because I've mentioned her a bunch of times. But Elaine Gross, she runs the organization Erase Racism, and what it is about is not really erasing racism. As a matter of fact, it's about affirmatively furthering fair housing, propping up low-income housing in the suburbs, essentially with no ways to pay for it. And she even wants to, and this is what she said in front of the New York State Senate, she wants to redefine a portion of education to talk about housing inequities. And I'm not sure if there's parents listening or not, but I don't think that's what we're sending our kids to school for. She's also sponsored certain trainings. We've seen it through the Smithtown Foils that have trained the educators. She's educated the educators on concepts that are found in the framework of critical race theory, which we know is divisive and hateful and racist in and of itself. So her name is Elaine Gross. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, well, thank you for mentioning it on the air again.
Yeah, no problem.
I think it's very important. All right, take care.
Hey, thank you so much. So there we go. All right. So obviously that was a great question by the gentleman from Calverton. And of course, I don't want to go to names and things like that. As a matter of fact, I also see something. Her name is Giselle Baril here in the chat. She did put, and I'm not sure which chat that was on, but she did put there the link to Senate Bill S7320, S7320. So you can check that out as well. And I'm actually going to take that link and put it in our show notes today so that you can see it and see that for yourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, we've hit the hour mark. I'm going to wrap up today. We'll be back on Friday morning, 7 a.m., same time, same place. Hopefully I update the title because it does say that we went back in time to August 27th, but it is September, the final month of summer. 20 days left, baby. That's what I'm talking about. And then, it's fall and then officially winter's coming. So I'm very excited about that as well. And I know everyone's going to get mad at me. Stop counting down the summer. I'm going to miss the heat. I won't. I'm going to keep counting it down. I'm sorry. And I also love to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So it's okay. September 4th, the protest at the Peconic Bay Medical Center in Riverhead, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I also believe that this Saturday is also a rally day on the corner of 7-Eleven. George Pritchard and Shirley. It's every other Saturday, so I believe he's going to be out there from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., but I'll confirm that with him today, and I'll confirm that with him going into Friday's show as well, but I figured to give that a plug. Sunday, of course, is our 1-year anniversary, 11 a.m. at the Dennison building, 1 p.m. we're going to be leaving, heading to the America First warehouse, and so we'll have that, and the donations for Voices for Seniors, we'll be accepting those on Sunday as well. So let's all keep getting together. Let's stay strong. Let's stay loud, of course. And remember, though, when we go to these board meetings, to keep yourselves composed and let's not make too much of a scene. That gives us a bad name and that stains what we're trying to do. Okay. I think that just about covers it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to head over to our website, officialloudmajority.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Take a look at the shop. We got some cool stuff in there. We do have those Not My President shirts. They're pretty good because I don't think anybody, even the quote-unquote 81 million people who voted for them, they don't want to admit that they've done so, and they may even start wearing those shirts too. So go over there, check it out. Let's get it done, and I will see you guys all on Friday morning. Thanks a lot, everyone, and stay loud.